We are live, guys. We are live. So we are going to create a simple ASP.NET Core MVC CRUD application, and we are going to link this to our SQL server. So if you're just joining us, so we've just started, and if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So I'm using Visual Studio 2026. We'll just begin by creating our new project. And here we are going to use ASP.NET Core MVC. So as you can see, I have my recent templates here. But in case you don't see that, then you can do ASP.NET Core. And you should be able to see something like that. So we have it here, ASP.NET Core web app, model view controller. So these are project templates for creating ASP.NET Core with example, ASP.NET Core MVC views and controllers. So that's what we are going to use. So I'll just select it and proceed. Then here, I'll call this sample employees management system. So that is my project name. So the location, you can select the location of your project. And here I'll be having my solution name. So I'll place this solution and project in the same directory. So if I just proceed and click next, then I'll see here I have my .NET framework. So here I have .NET 7, 8, 9, and 10. So on the authentication type, I want us to use identity. So we can choose individual accounts. Then we can configure for HTTPS. So I'll just proceed next. I'll click on next, and I'll have my project being created. As you can see there, we have our simple project. As you can see, this is ASP.NET Core. You can learn about the .NET platform, create your first application, and extend it to the cloud. So for us, we've just created a simple project. And as you can see on this particular side, we have our folders. We have our program.cs, which is actually the entry point to our application. We have the app settings, where we'll be connecting to our database. And this is how it looks like. We also have the views. We have the shared view start, view imports. We have the layout. We also have the models. So we don't have any models. Currently, we have data. We have our application DB context, which is already there with us. Then we have our controller, which is our home controller. We have our areas. And the areas, we have the pages and identity. So what I want us to do, so if we just launch this particular application, it should actually just give us a simple ASP.NET Core web app. So if you are new to this channel and you're watching our stream, just like the video, comment, and also subscribe, guys. So as you can see here, we have our project. So this is our sample employees management system. Then as you can see, we have our home, our privacy. Then you have register. So this register here, you can do email, password, and even confirm password. We have the login. So we can change some things on this particular project. So we haven't done anything so far. We have just our project there. So if we just go here and go to our layout, you'll realize that we have this title here. So you can call these employees management system. So that's the title of our project. Then here we can also call these employees management system. So if we just update our hot reload, it should take us to our, so it will change this. And you can see here we have our employees management system. Then on top here, so on top we have our register. So we have our register, and also we have our register and also a login. So I think this is enough. So what we need to do now is we need to link this to our database. So I'll just go to our database, and we can create a database called employee system. So let's call it employee system. Then if we click OK, then we'll have our database created. So we need to connect this to our server. So I'll just copy this, our server name, and we can go back to our app settings. On our app settings, we can have these as, so here we can say, we can replace that. Then we need to take the name of our database, so which is employee system. Go back to our app setting and we can replace this here. Then we have trust connection and multiple active result set. So I'll try to have here, you can have these as trust server certificate. So I'll say trust server certificate, and you can do here, I can say this is true, that's okay, and you can see that is okay. So the next thing that we need to do is we can try to add our model. So the model here, we can do here new, you can say employee model. Then as you can see, we have our employee. So you can add properties. So what are some of the properties that you can provide? So we need to add more properties there, and some of them is first name. So let's do here first name, public string, first name. Then we get here get set. Then we can do also, we need an ID. So here we'll do int, which is a primary key. So here you'll say ID int, and you say this is ID. Then you can also have middle name. This should be string. This should be middle name, and you can also have last name. You can also have email address, and say this is email address. You can also have the let's say this is date of birth. We can, let's say, address. You can also have country. What other thing can we have here? So that is the first name, middle name, last name, email address, country, and you can say gender. So you can say here gender. So after doing that, so we need to have, so these are some of the fields that we can have. So we can go and add this to our DB context. So I'll just come here and say, but before even adding that, remember we have our application DB context. We are using identity, and we already have the SPNet identity tables. That is roles, users, and even claims, user claims, user logins. So currently on the database, we don't have anything. But because these tables, this migration file is already here, we can just come here and do under tools, NuGet manager console. We can come here and we can do update database. So that will create all the files, that is all the tables that we have, and all the tables will be created on our database, and we should be able to. So trust, we have something wrong with our naming. So if we come here, we should say trust server certificate. So here should be trust. So it is saying trust. This should be trust server certificate. So This should be trust server certificate. So the spelling should be correct. So if we just go back here and try to update database. So our database should be updated, and we should be able to have the new tables in our database. So as you can see, everything went well, and we now have, if we go to the database and refresh, we should see the EF migrations. We should see the SPNet roles, SPNet role claims, SPNet claims, and you also have SPNet users, SPNet user tokens. So that is how you can do that. Now, what I want us to do is, if we go to our application, we need to add our table for employees. So this is our application DB context. So I'll come here and say public DB set. So I just can close that. So this should be public DB set. This one I should be having here employee, and I can do here import that model. What have I done wrong here? Let me undo. Yes, so if I just do that, okay, so this is DB. So if I just do this, it will be inside there. So this is our application DB context. Now, what I want us to do is to add migration. So I'll just come here, package manager console, and I can say add migration, and I can say here we can have student, that is employee initial migration. So if we press enter, then we can have our migration file generated, and we should be able to have, so you can see this file. We have our employee, first name, middle name, last name, email address, country, and even gender. Then our primary key here is our ID. So the next thing we can do here is we can update database. So this will create our employees table, the update database. So if we just press enter, then everything is okay. So as you can see here, we have our field table. So this is what we have, and you should see on our database, you should find the new table called employee. So this is what we have here. So here you can see we've created a table called employee, but I usually like to have a database called our database called in plural actually. So I'll just go to our application DB context, and I can rename this. So let's see what happens. So if we just come to NuGets, and we say here add migration, employees database, and say employees database renamed. So we just press enter, then our database name will be renamed, and as you can see here, it is dropping that renaming. So if we just do update database, the database, then we should be having our database updated. So let's just see. So as you can see, if we go back to our database, we should have our table name called employees. So that's what we want. So since we have that, so I want us to do something. So we just launch our application. We should see we had the register button, and we also had the login button. If I just click register, I can provide my email address and password. I'll say I'll provide my password. I'll provide my password, and if I click register, so this will register our account. So as you can see, our registration has been confirmed, So you need to register to confirm our registration. And because this app we've not linked it to the email sender, we cannot. So it will actually send us an email so that we are able to confirm our account from the email. But now it is helping us by providing here a button. So the button here, we can click it to confirm that you access our email, and you can see here our email seems to be confirmed. Now that's so that shows our email has been confirmed. And if you go to our application called SPNet users, so you'll find a username, a normalized username. So the account that we've created is here. So that means we can log into our application. So if we just go back here, provide my email address and log in, click sign in. So you'll see my account is here. So I have my email there, and I can log out. So if I click log out, then I'm able to log in. And if I click login, I can provide the email address and I can log in. So that's a simple way of how you can create your employees management system. That is a demo. But now, remember we had our model called for employees. So if we just come here and say employees, so we have it here. So I want us to do something called scaffolding. So here, I'll just come here on our application and add new, then new scaffolded item. Then we do here MVC. Then we do MVC controller with views using entity framework core. So I'll just click here. And when I click, I'll just come here and say model. I'll choose employee. DB context is my application DB context. Then here I'll just click here employees. So it will give us the name of the controller. So we just add it, then it will generate the controller name and all the views that we want. So that is the create, read, and also delete. So let's see how this looks like. So it will generate our code, as you can see here, and you can see we have everything here. So that is index, details, and we have employees, everything. Now, when we launch our app, it is taking us direct to home. So I want us to change this. So or we can even leave it. So let's just leave it. But if we go to our layout, we can add our new link that is for employees. So you can change our privacy, or you can even add a new one. Let's add a new one here. Then here we can call these, so this is employees. Then action here, I'll do index. Then you can call these employees. So you can see this is employees. We have employees, home, privacy, and that is it. So if we just launch the app, then we should be able to see our new tab. If I just go here, then I'll see our new tab called employees. So if I just click home for employees, I'll get this index. So you see this index page. So this should give us the list of employees. So let's just make it more better. So if we go to the index page, so you will realize that when we scaffolded, we were able to get the controller name of employees and also the views. So we have these views here: create, delete, details, edit, and index. So we'll go to index. I'll just go to index. Then here I'll rename this to employees list. Then here I'll call these also employees list. So then here I can say add new employee. So add new employee. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscription button so that you help us do more of these episodes, and also share more of the content. So as you can see, we have add new employee. Then I want us to do something. So before even doing anything, if we go to our www route, you'll realize that we have the sites. So you can even add new item. I'll say instead of that, I want us to add client-side library. Then here I'll do here font awesome. You can add font awesome. Install it. You can also add Bootstrap. So I'll just come here and say client-side library. You can add Bootstrap. You can see here, I can add Bootstrap, and I can install. So we now have Bootstrap, and we also have font awesome. So if we go to our layout, I can add these styles. So I think we had Bootstrap, that's fine, but I can also add our font awesome. So I'll just come here and say font awesome, and I can do here CSS, and I can do here, can have these as all. Then I can also have the JS. So if I scroll down here, I can copy this. I can also have the Bootstrap here. Then I can do here JS. Then I can have all. And have here all. So if we go to our index page here, I want us to, so here I can do table. So if I just do table, I can do responsive. Let's say responsive. I can also do here table. I can do bordered. I can also do table. Let's say which one? I think that's fine. Here I can also do something here. I can add an icon. I can say I can have this as a class. I can say btn. I can do here primary. Then I can say this is so I can say here. I can say here I want to add an icon here. So let's say, assuming we have this button here, so I can do here then this is a class, and do here for class, or I can do here add, and do that. This is saying end tag. I can just do here and say here. So we have so I can also have these as edit, and do here edit. I can also do here view. I can also do here delete. So on this also I can separate these into 3. So here I'll do edit, I can do details, and also I can do delete. So here I can do edit, and I can also add here, I can say class btn, I can do here warning. Details here I can do here class btn, btn. Can do here, let's say this, we can say here primary. Let me just do that. Then I can say this is btn danger. Let's say also this is our client. So if I format our app, then it should look something like this. So let's try. So this one, I think I'll just have it. So let's launch this app and see how it looks like. So if you haven't subscribed to this particular channel and you're watching our live stream, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So if we just go to employees, so what has happened to our table? So let's just go and check. So here we have our, so I'll just, yeah, let me just do away with this. Table bordered, yes, we didn't add this one. So if we just update, then everything should be okay. If we go to our app now, you can see we have our add employees list, add new employee, first name, middle name, last name. So if we click add, it will take us to the create page. So you can see here we have our create page, and on the create page you can see you have the first name, middle name. So if we try to add something, let's say macro code live, say macro@gmail, we provide that country, then we say this is mail. So if we add, we say create, so you'll realize that we have our buttons, that is our employee details here. Let's add more. We say James Mwangi Kariuki, say here, then we say test at gmail.com. Then we say here, mail. Can do another one. We say Janet Opio Ngugi. Then we say here provide that female. We do here female. So if we create, so you can see this is how our data looks like. So this is how our information looks like. So you try to add another employee. You say this is Amos Wanderi, say Kingi, say provide that, then you say this is now. So we add, there we go. So I want us to change something. So you realize how this form looks like. So we can come back to our code and then create. So you can say this, you can remove this, and we say this is add new employee, add new employee. So for the add new employee, I want us to change, instead of these appearing this way, you can have it in 2 rows, in 2 columns. So I'll just come here and I can say here this is 12. Then I can come here and do here, have this as MD, then I can do here row, then I can close it. So then here I'll do call MD6. Then I can also do this. So I'll do all of them. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this as well, do this, do this. So then I can close it here. So if I just close it, then format my application, then this is how it looks like. So if we update our app, so let's update and see how this looks like. So if I just go back, so you'll realize that this is how now it looks like. We have the first name, email address country. So if we add another one, so let's just say this is Njue Kings Mwangi. Say here, then we say this is male. So if we add it, so you can see we have our data here. So this is one of the things. So as you can see, this is our list of data. Now, if we add, you see our button a bit looks okay. Now, I want us to change. So if we go to the list, we can say edit. We can see also the edit looks, we can align it. So let's go back to our edit screen. So this is edit. We can remove this and we can call this update database. Update, I mean update employee details. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down. You can share some of the content that you'll want us to cover, and we'll be happy to do so. So here I'll do 12 as well. Then here I'll do row. I'll do here row. Then I can do the same thing here. So I'll do call MD 6. Then I'll also do the same thing here. I'll also do it here. Do the same thing, and I can close my div here. So if I just format that, then I should be having my div closed. So if then we can say this is update employee details. So our employee details, so this should be update employee details. So if we just update our reload, then you go back, then you should see we have our update employee details. So you can see this looks good. So you can see here we have our details, and if we say this is updated, call this is updated. Sorry, we have also this is updated. So this is updated. So if I press save, so you can see our details is being updated, and you can see we are able to edit and update our data. So if we say details, so you can see this is our details. So this is our employees details. So we can go back and also make it more user friendly. So we'll just come back here. I can say this is class, and do here class call MD 12. Then you can say employee details. So if I just do that, and we can have it that way, we can call this employee details. So if I just update this, then our app, you can see how it looks like. We have the employee details. This is macro updated, code updated, and you also have these as email address. Now if we go back to the list, so let's just go back to the list. So if we say delete, you can see here this is the information, and you can actually delete the record. So if I click delete, so you can see our application has been deleted. We have fewer records now here. So but I want us to change something. So if we check on the first name, we can rename how we want our display here, our headers. So let's just go to our list, our index, and you can see here we are getting these as let's say this is table header, table headers, then we have the table data. So if I come back here and go to our model, sorry, I can just go to definition, and I'll have my models here. So here I can do something. I can say here, and do something called display name. Then I can provide the name that I want it to display. I can say the first name. Then I can also have this one as middle name. So I don't want these names to be, I want to separate it, have some spacing. I'll say this is last name. I'll also have this as email address. So if we say this is email address, then we can also have the address. And say this is address. You can also have here, say country name. Country name. Then you can call this also gender. You can say this is gender, or you can have it as sex. So it depends on how you want it to appear. But here, because we call it gender, we can call it gender. So if I relaunch my app, then my naming should be fine now. I should be able to see the first name, middle name, this one. So instead of what we had previously. So I'll just go back here. And as you can see, we have our employees. So if we go back, so you'll see we have our first name, middle name, last name, email address, country name, gender, edit, view, and delete. So if we on the delete, let's just go back. So details, as you can see, this is okay. Then we have our edit, which is also so if you can do here updated, you can do here updated, then you should be able to see. So you can see this is already updated. So that's one way on how you can do that. Now you can see, for example, on our application, when we log in, when we just launch it, it takes us directly to home. So assuming you want to display the employees list here again, you can just come here and come to employees list. So you'll take this section here on the controllers. So I'll just copy that, come back to home, and I can paste it here. Then I'll just change this to home controller, and this one will give me, so this is controller home, then this should be able to give me a list of, if we just do this, we need to import EFCO, and we'll be having this list here. Now, then we can borrow our index page. So we can borrow this list, and we can have it on our home. So we can just paste this here. Then we can, so if we relaunch it now, we should be able to see our list of employees on our index page. But now that's not a good way to do it. So as you can see, you're able to see the list here. But when you click add, you'll get an error. You see, you'll get an error because the create button is actually on a different folder. So the best way will be, when you are launching our app, we should make so this is our employees. So we should redirect it from the program.cs. So you see here, our default page should be employees under index. So if we relaunch that, it should take us directly to employees, then index. So that is the controller that it will navigate us to. So as you can see, it has taken us directly to that particular section. So if I click add, we should not be getting an error. So because it has redirected us directly to that particular page. So if I say add new, I'll say here James. Let me say Caleb, Mwangi. I'll say here Opio. I'll say Njue. Then I can say this email address. I can say this mail. So if I create, you can see I have my details here. So you can create as many information as possible. Now, if we click here, it takes us to home. But there is one thing I want us to check. You can see here we have the home, employees, and privacy. So assuming you want to hide this so that whenever you are not logged in, we should not add the employee. See this one? So if I just come here and I go to layout, I can remove these employees here. Then I go to login partial. Then I can add it here. So you can see this is our layout. So if I try to relaunch our app, I should not be able to see the employees section. So if I just go there, you see it will take me to the employees, and here, sorry, these actually should be within, will be here, will have it inside here. Let me just have it here. So you should access it only once you are able to log in. But now, if I just sign in, launch our app, you should see that link only when you are logged in. So you can see we don't have the employee section here. So if we go back to our program.cs and change this to home, then we should not, we cannot add employees unless we log in. So if we go back and then we remember we had added the list on our employees, our in home page. So let's just undo that. So that is under home. So you can undo this, and you can also undo it from the controller side. There we go. So if I proceed here, and let's just go launch our app. So you can see it is taking us to the welcome page. So you don't have anywhere to add the employees until we log in. So if we just log in, provide my email and password and sign in, then we should see the link. So you can see here at the top we have our link. So if I just proceed next, I'll be able to see that. So one thing is, assuming you've done all this and you want to update your model, so you'll just go to your employee model, assuming you want to provide another property here. So what can we add here? So let's say public. Another good thing is, you see here we have the full name. So you can get the full name from, this is the approach on how you can get the full name. So you can have first name, middle name, and last name. But also we can add another property. So let's say public. Which property can we add here? You can say, let's say we have address. You can say here ethnicity. So let's say ethnicity. So if you do that, so this one we can do here display, and we can also have this as full name. Then here we can also have this as ethnicity. So once we have this, we can go to package manager console. Then we say add migration. Then you can say updated employee ethnicity. So if we click update, then it will add that migration file, and we should be able to update it to our details. So you can see here we have ethnicity employees. It will add this column, and it will try to drop it if it exists. So if we just come here and say update database, then it will add our new column. So if you go to employees, you can see here we have, let's see, you can see it has generated everything, and it's actually an update. So if you come here, you should see our database with new column called ethnicity, which is null. So what we need to do now, assuming we want to include it, we'll just come to create, copy this, and update here, then say here ethnicity, have this ethnicity. Then if you go to controller on create, so So you'll realize that we have this here. So you can remove this binding or you can add it. So you can just do away with it. Also do away with this so that you're able to get all the values. Then after that, we can also come to index and we can add another column here called ethnicity. We can add ethnicity here. I'll say ethnicity. Then you can also have ethnicity here. You can say ethnicity, and that is okay. So if we launch our app now, we should be able to add a new value for ethnicity. So if I just come here, go to employees, so you'll see a new column, ethnicity, which is null. So, but if I say add new, I say Jared Mwangi Karanja. Then we say that, say this is male, and we say this is Carl engine. If we say create, you'll see we have our ethnicity here. So that is it on how you can modify and do a simple CRUD application in ASP.NET Core. I'm going to leave it there for today. In case you are watching this particular episode and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and see you in our next stream. That is it, and keep safe. Bye.